and doing that, and great. Okay, welcome everybody. Um, what we're going to do today is basically we're going to be continuing what I did last week. So if you, um, oh, um, this, and yeah, so if you weren't following along last week, in the chat, which should also come up on the screen, there's that was the project that we did last week. And then current is currently just an exact copy of the project from last week, but we're going to be changing it a bit. But I wanted to have a jumping off point for the stuff we're doing today. So that stuff that you see down here um, should, if you want to follow along, you can do that. So where are we? We are here. Yeah, so I want to see inside this, and I think I'm going to be doing some amount of gutting what this currently has. Let's see, I'm just going to move myself over to here for now, where we can no longer see the x and y coordinates of things, um, but that, actually, maybe I can put myself up here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. That makes more sense for not disrupting the stuff that you can see down here. So, I'm going to do a quick overview of what we did last time. Um, yeah, so we sort of have two different threads of execution, so two different columns of stuff that's happening. Um, and the code for the bat and the cat are pretty similar. So I'm just going to go through one of them, and basically the same thing is true for the other one. Um, so when we start, um, we say that we don't control the cat, and we say that the cat is not draggable. This is all normal, and then we do a forever loop, and this is basically what's going to be updating the cat's position. So the first thing that we do inside this forever loop is set the x of the cat to whatever the cloud thinks that the cat's x position is, and then the same thing for the y. So this is basically saying if someone else is controlling the cat, we want to update it. We want to update where it's moving based on how they're moving it. And if we're controlling the cat, we still want to have our control agree with the server's control of this. But hopefully, if we're controlling the cat, this shouldn't do anything, but it's just kind of a sanity check to make sure that nothing crazy is happening. Then the next thing that we do is say if we're controlling the cat, or if we think we're controlling the cat, but the cloud thinks the cat is not controlled. This is basically saying if someone didn't finish the game correctly and didn't do a thing, we added this ball in the top right that you can click to set the cat is controlled and bat is controlled cloud variables to 0. To basically say no one has control of anything anymore, and this if statement here is what we need to do to make it so the code recognizes and acknowledges that when the ball is clicked, we're going to be giving up control of it. So then the rest of this, so then the else of this if statement is basically saying if we control the cat and the cloud thinks that someone is controlling the cat, this is basically saying this is acknowledging that we are correctly controlling the cat, and everyone is on the same page that we're supposed to be doing stuff with this. We're going to say, then we have our standard controlling stuff. So this is saying, if you're pressing an arrow key, then move in that direction. And then after that, set the cloud variable to where we currently are. So this is basically saying, we moved on our screen. We want it to also move on everyone else's screen. So this is the main logic for allowing these things to move. And then this other thing what this is doing is having this is logic for who controls what sprite. So this is basically saying when the cat is clicked, we want to ensure that we don't control, ensuring that we don't control anything yet, and no one else thinks that they're controlling the cat is the two main large-scale ideas that this is trying to do. And so the way that we do that is saying, if we control the bat, then we can do all this stuff. Otherwise, this is saying you already control the bat, you can't control the cat as well. Because if we're clicking on the cat, actually let's update that, and then when this is running, great, yeah. So when this is running, I'm going to reset everything. I'm going to click on the cat, and now the cat is controlled. We control the cat. So then, if I move this around, it moves around. Hooray! And so that was this thing. So when I started everything up, reset everything, and then clicked on the cat, we don't control the bat, so we're fine doing this. And then we say we don't control the cat because we control cat as 0, and cat is controlled was also 0. So if that's the case, then we now control it. And then otherwise, we're saying if this is the case, if the cloud thinks no one is controlling the cat and we already control it, we should never see that. So we just say something's wrong. And if we see that we are not controlling the cat and someone else is controlling the cat, and we say that someone else is controlling the cat, as makes sense. And then we're saying if we're already controlling the cat, because we control cat as 1 and cat is controlled as 1, then we want to relinquish control of the cat. We want to give up control of the cat so we can control something else in the future, or maybe let someone else control the cat. So then we're going to set cat is controlled and we control cat to 0. And so that is where we're working from. And so if I do this correctly, yeah, maybe I should do, or no, let's do this. Nah, I'm gonna do this live, which is probably not great, but here we are. I'm gonna say that we're doing that. Or actually, that's the right side, so we can do this. So that's what that view is gonna look like. So here, let's see, where's the other one? This one's over here. So now I'm on the right side. This is running. It says cat is controlled as 1, but we don't control the cat because the other place controls the cat. So if I try to control the cat, it says someone else is controlling the cat. It's somewhat covered up, so that's unfortunate, but oh well. But then if we click on the bat, then we control it over here. And if I'm moving it on the thing on the right, it also moves on the thing on the left, but it is very jumpy. It doesn't feel good to control it like that. Or yes, the person on the left isn't controlling it, but it doesn't feel good for them to observe the bat moving that way because it's all very jumpy and weird. So what I'm going to try to do today is figure out how we can make that better. And so the main idea of the thing I'm going to try, which I haven't actually done before, but feels like it should make sense to me. So we're going to see if I can make it work live. We're going to have this sprite be recognized. Wait, is that? Oh, that's real funky. You can see my mouse twice, and that's not great, but that's the world we're living in. Let's just go back to not this so I don't lose my mind. Yeah, so here, let's reset this. So what I want to do is currently when the cat is moving, all right, I'm just going to stop the other one from running so it's not telling stuff to update. So the idea that I want to explore today is saying we want the cloud, we want the server to keep track of not only the position of each of these sprites, but also how the person controlling it is acting. Of basically saying once, so I'm going to start this and click the cat. And so once I start clicking, like I hold down, and then just will hold it down, or I hold down an arrow key and hold it down until I stop. And so what that's doing on this computer is saying each time we update, we want to move it. If I'm holding down left, we want to move it 5 pixels to the left because I have 5 is the step size in here. And so what I want to do is send that information to the other computer that's running it, or the other browser or whatever, and saying that if I'm holding down left, when you set the X and Y position of the cat, you don't just, it's not only setting the X and Y position of the cat, it's also saying if they're currently moving to the left, we're going to assume they're going to keep on moving to the left until we see otherwise. And that's going to be true of all of the arrows. And then after that, I think I'm going to, or I guess we'll see how much time is left after that, because that may just suck up a huge amount of time, or I may be able to knock it out in a reasonable amount of time. We shall see. The first thing to start with this is that saying that I think all of this code, the when this sprite is clicked code, I think that is all fine and doesn't need to be changed. Because we're not changing how we're gaining control of the cat and the bat. We're changing when we do not control. So we're saying we're changing how the cat moves when someone is controlling the cat and that someone is not us. Yes, I'm starting to doubt, or I'm starting to think that maybe this won't work because the set X to this might be a little funky. But we're just going to see if we can get something up and running. So first thing I'm going to do is just add an if statement here. Actually, maybe this is a if else on this. Yeah, so we want to say, yeah, I lied. First thing that I want to do is not that. I think the first thing I want to do is turn this if into an if else. So if we do control the cat, we want to do all that stuff that we were doing before. But if we don't control the cat, so in this else, this will only happen if we control cat is equal to 0, because the only values that we allow for we control cat are 1 and 0. So if we can control cat is 0, we want to be thinking about how it's moving. So that means that we're going to need more variables, and that means that the stuff in here needs to be sending stuff to the cloud. I think that means that all of these ifs need to actually be if else's. So first thing we're going to do is make some stuff. So we're going to say cat up. We can be more script. We can say cat heading up. And we're just going to do one of those for each direction. We do cat heading down, cat heading left, and cat heading right. I think the last one I forgot to make a cloud variable. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to make 2 of them a cloud variables. So I'm just gonna delete these 2. I think you need to make them clouds when you start. So we want to say cat heading down. I forgot which ones I deleted. We did down, right, and up, so we need to do left as well. So cat heading left. Cool. This is starting to get real messy. Let's see, we're going to at least turn off the X and Y positions of all of these, of cat and bat. And I think I'm just going to do, I think I want to have all of these available for us for debugging as needed. Yes, let's I put these all down here. These are going to go up here. This is just going to be big old mess things. And I'm going to need to do all of this for the bat as well, but that is going to happen in a little bit. So what we're going to be doing is saying, if we're controlling the cat and we press the up arrow, we want to say cat heading up is equal to true, or is equal to 1, which is what we're calling true. They all start off at 0, which is good, so I'm not going to have a thing. And also what we want to say is, if we're no longer pressing the up key, we want to set this back to 0. So that's just adding an else onto this thing. So we're saying, just replacing all of this. So this is in the if, and then in the else, we're saying set cat heading up to 0. And so this is going above that. This if statement is now to be thrown out, and that's going to go in here. But I'm just going to do all the if else's at once. So let's just grab 3 if else's, and then down, down, right, right, left, left. Done. These are going at the end of this because we need to do it, and then all of these ifs can be thrown out. And then going to, actually let's stack up these if statements properly, and then put them in here. So we want this to, it wants to line up to this thing. So it wants to be there, sure. And then we need to do all of the variable updates for these cloud variables. So we're saying set cloud heading, or cat heading right, to 0 here and to 1 here. We're going to set cat heading down to 0 here and 1 here. And then cat heading left to 0 there and 1 here. It's possible that we could do this in 2 variables. And yeah, so you could do a what's its XY change going to be, where it could be +1, 0, or -1, but this feels more intuitive to me, so I'm just going to do it like this. Cool. So that is properly updating the cat heading up, down, left, right. So what I want to do is, while this is running, I want to make sure that we can do this. So you can see that down here, these numbers are going to change as I move the cat around. So as I'm holding down right, it's going right. And then as I'm holding it left, it goes left. Oh, interesting. And I guess that is expected behavior. Okay, sure. Yeah, so now these variables are properly being updated. So what I want to do is have this else statement. So this is saying if someone else is controlling the cat, we want to interpret where the cat should be based on where they're moving, in case we aren't reading from in case we aren't reading from the cloud often enough. So, actually, I think I just want to copy all of this stuff, where I'm going to change some amount of it, but we're duplicating all of this. And this kind of makes, oh no, this makes me as a programmer very nervous, because if I'm copying a lot of code, I probably want to, it probably should not be copied and should instead be, the computer should know that it's trying to be copied. My mouse is being somewhat silly in terms of copying, in terms of moving scratch stuff around. But, yeah. So here we have, what we're doing here is instead of, yeah, so in this else we're saying if someone else is controlling the cat, we want to be moving stuff around. So I think for this, I'm just going to pull out a whole bunch of code where the main important thing is if we recognize that the person that's controlling the cat is pressing the up arrow, then we want the cat to be heading up regardless. So the naive way of doing that is saying if the variable cat heading up is equal to 1. Why are you being so difficult, Scratch? So if this is 1, we do this. I think that's all. I'm just going to change all of these in that way. And I'm going to leave the else's in here because I think I will need them later, but for now I just want to see what happens when I do it like this. And yeah. Alright, and then we don't want to do this because in this else we're saying if someone else is controlling the cat, we don't want to actually be setting the cat's position. We want them to be the only one writing to the cloud variable so it doesn't have weird jumping around stuff happening. But we want to try to update more reasonably. Oh, oops. I wasn't supposed to get rid of the motion blocks. Oh well. So we're saying up, down. So this is going to be down, and we change y by -5. And then these are going to be left and right. So left is -5 for x, and right is +5 for x. And then we're just going to copy this 4 times and put it in all the places, and then we're going to put the different up, down, left, right for the variables. So we need to go into variables, we need to pull out this, put cat heading, oh oops, this is cat heading down, change y by -5, cat heading left is change x by -5, and cat heading right is change x by +5. So let's see how this looks. So I'm going to start this up. I'm going to reset control. I'm going to hop over to this view. And that means I need to start up this one. Oh dear. And here it says cat is heading up as 1. which I do not think it should. So I'm going to click on this. So now we control it. Good, it correctly sets cat heading up to 0. Oh, oops, I'm going to go and control, oh, this is going to be a little bit janky, but that's okay. So here, I'm going to click on this cat here, and now the one on the right is where I'm controlling the cat. Now if I move it around, it moves on both screens, but the left screen is not any better than it was before. And I think this is sort of what I suspected at the moment. And I think the reason for this is, oops, so I'm going to stop that stuff from running. I'm going to stop this stuff from running. I'm going to restart it. I'm going to click on the cat. And now we can do this stuff. That's all 0, and then we can give up control. Cool. So I think the reason for this is that, like currently we're trying to, like the reason why it initially felt laggy and stuttery and bad is because we're trying to read cloud variables inside a forever loop. And so a forever loop is trying to run like 30 times a second, maybe more. And the servers that Scratch uses just don't allow us to read variables that often. And so, when we try to do it down here, we're still just trying to read variables from the cloud in a forever loop. And so it makes sense that it isn't able to update quickly enough to do these things. So I think what I want to do is pull these things down, or basically, when you can read from the cloud and say, you can read from the cloud and ask if a sprite has a certain heading. But then you also keep track of that on your local instance of Scratch, on like local variables as opposed to cloud variables. And then when those differ, you can change, like whenever you're able to read the cloud variable, you compare the cloud variable to the local variable and set it accordingly. And then in here, when we're actually changing the positions, we're going to use the local variables, which hopefully will be updated properly. So what I want to do in here is, as this naming scheme is going to start to get a little messy, but I'm just going to call these local. Local cat headed down, and just make copies of all of these things. So local cat headed up, local cat headed left, and a local cat headed right. And so these are all local variables. So I'm going to see if I can kludge together things. So I guess what I think I'm going to do is say, actually, I guess when we start this, we want to set all of these equal to 0. So we're going to set all the local ones to 0. So we do that, that, one more. Local cat headed right. Then local cat headed up. It's all going to be 0. And then when we're down here, we want these to be the local, not the cloud versions of them. So this is local cat headed up, down, left, and right. And so if this is true, okay. I think what my assumption here is, which is kind of a big assumption that is not getting tested really rigorously by this. But what I think is happening is that if because like it seems like these games are still running at a reasonable speed, but it's just the um, if the cloud variable read doesn't happen in time, like before the next iteration of the forever loop starts to happen, I think it just hangs and then just gives up. Maybe. Yeah, I'm getting dubious. Like the logic that I'm saying feels not good. But we're gonna push on and see if we can make something cool happen. So, what I want to do here is if locally we think the other person is holding down the up key, so because that's what the local cat headed up is, we want to also check if the cloud agrees with us and it's true. Or actually, no, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the local updates of this in a different loop. I think that means that these else's aren't gonna have anything in them, but oh well. So I'm just gonna start a new thing. And so we want to say, when do we want to do this? We want to say, if we don't control the cat and someone else controls the cat. So that's two things. So if two equal signs, two equal things. So these are both. Let's see. So we're saying if the cat is controlled, is 1, and we control the cat, is 0. Yeah. Oh, and this wants to be in a forever loop. So if this stuff is happening, then we want to be updating our local heading. So say, yeah, if if the cloud believes the cat is heading up, then we update our local things. And basically, oh, that means I need this to be an if else. Yeah. Is if the cloud thinks that the cat should be heading up, then we want our local cat headed up to be set to 1. And otherwise we want to set it to 0. And I just want to do this for, I want to do this 4 times for the 4 different headings. Yes, we can pull this over a little bit. And this means we need to change all of these things. So up goes to down. Already have this here, and this all needs to get changed to down. So local cat down. There's a lot of, oh no, okay, it at least is marginally intelligent in terms of where it picks up things. This is, this is local cat left, and local cat headed left, and then this one, oops, this one wants to be changed to right. It's this thing over here. This is all local cat headed right, local cat headed right. So I'm going to stop this and then start this. This place is going to control the bat, which is good. It doesn't let us control the cat. I'm going to switch to the side-by-side view. I'm going to look at this one. I think I need to reload this page, so I'm going to do that now to make sure that I have the current code for this. And then so now I'm going to be, so this knows that the bat is controlled by someone else, so now I'm going to control the cat. And now when I move this thing on the right, the one on the left should move more smoothly if this works. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. How come left and right is not working, but up and down is? That is bizarre and very likely a bug. Okay. Okay, so let's first make sure that all of our up, down, left, rights are correct, which they are. I suspect what we want to do, which I kind of hate, is we just want to pull each of these into their own forever loop, because reading from the cloud is so hard. So I'm just going to pull, because like basically up and down are working because they're the top two. Or no, the easier way to test this hypothesis is to move the left, right to the top of this forever loop, and now see if that makes it so when we go back to this and this, this is still, we need to reset everything. We need to control the cat, and then we want to see if this still works. So now up and down still work, and left and right still don't. Okay, so that shoots a hole in that theory. And so this, I'm happy with this. This is a proof of concept, because on the left, it looks, it's somewhat less jumpy, though still has some weird things. And what I especially like, or what I'm especially like, it's not necessarily good, but it proves that this idea is working, is if I'm going down for a bunch and stop, maybe it's when I'm going up for a bunch and stop. Yeah, when I go up for a bunch and stop, you can see so when you're looking at the left one, this guy moves up, but then when I let go of the arrow, he like drops back down without pressing the down arrow. And what that means is that on this left example, it knows that the right example is pressing up and saying, okay, I'm going to keep on moving the cat up. But then eventually, I let go of the up arrow on the right screen. When that happens, that doesn't get transmitted to the one on the left immediately. it takes a little bit of time for it to move over, or for it to recognize that. And so when that bit happens, the one on the left is still going like, oh yeah, you're still holding up, I'm still going to move you up, until it recognizes that up is no longer held, and then it jumps back to the x and y coordinates that the one on the right transmitted last. And so when I look at this, oh, I'm not on the right window. Yeah, so this is somewhat better, I think. I do not understand. Whoa. Huh. Yes, I do not understand what's happening with the left and right of these things, because the right is the screen on the right is what I'm controlling the cat with, and it's working reasonably. And then on the left, it just is refusing to update the cat, except for that one time when it did, which is especially odd. So if I relinquish control on the left, I'm just going to control it on the right and make sure that nothing too nuts is happening. So yeah, so now this guy is, now I'm controlling the left screen with the cat. Oh, I didn't click on the thing. Oh, I clicked on it again, great. All right. Yes, I can't actually see this because of how my stream is set up. What fool. But this also seems like it is properly updating the up and down, but then the left and right is just not doing anything. That is what it appears to be doing, and now we get to figure out why that is happening. The first thing to note is that the cloud left and right are updating properly. The local the locals aren't updating here. Do I want them to be? I don't think so. Yeah, because the local variables only need to be kept track of if you're not controlling it yourself. Which probably means I should have a different. I should probably give them different names, but we might be too far gone for that to work out. Okay, what I want to check for now is checking to see if when I'm controlling the one on the left, or when I'm controlling the one on the right, so I'm going to reset everything. I'm going to take control of the cat on the screen on the right. I'm going to be moving all up, down, left, right, and on the screen on the left, I want to see, like, I think the cloud variables should be updated reasonably accurately. I want to see if the local variables are properly updated from that. So that's what I'm going to be looking for when I play it this time. So the up and down seem to be reasonable. Wait, where is cat heading down? So this cloud variable here on the left, the cat heading down, seems to not go to 0 ever, or not go to 1 ever, which is troubling. Whoa, why did it jump over just now? I think we're going to need to look at more parts of the code than I currently have. But for now, let's just look at the let's look at the local cat-headed left and right when I'm moving left and right, where somewhat understandably those aren't changing. The odd thing is that like when I'm doing this left and right, the cloud variables over here are not changing at all. Only up is changing and down is not. What I'm starting to think may be happening is that it doesn't allow us to have more than a certain number of cloud variables for a particular project or sprite or something like that, which is concerning because I've just been gobbling them up like candy. So what do we want to do about that? Yeah, as we have, we now have 3. All right, let me hop back to this view. Oh, I was just like, I'm gonna move myself over here. So, let's go there for now. So we can see all of the variables, all the cloud variables that we have. So we have 3 and 4 is 7, another 3 is 10. Anything happening with this? The odd thing with this is, why does it have up work and not have anything else work? Yeah, I think the first suspicion I have is just I want all of these in different forever loops. So this is just going to get pulled apart into 4 different things where each one's checking its own stuff. So each of these has its own forever. Maybe I should just be doing one of these and copying them. I don't know. Then we want an if. It doesn't need an else. So do if, and then we're going to copy this whole statement. So now, like inside each forever, we're asking about 2 cloud variables as opposed to 5. Maybe that makes it better, or maybe it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to copy this if into each of the forevers. And then we're going to, the top one is that, so I'm just going to copy, I'm going to not copy, I'm going to drag these over one at a time. So this is the same code, just split across 4 different forever loops. So I'm going to stop this, I'm going to start this, I'm going to reset cat control, I'm going to go to side-by-side view, I'm going to start controlling this guy, I'm going to reload this page because the code is different enough that I want to fiddle with it. I'm going to start this guy as well. I'm going to ask to relinquish control of cat. I'm going to have the one on the right be controlling the cat. That jump on the left one makes me concerned already. Yeah, because the one on the right is still going left and right properly. When it goes up and down, that's wild. So it seems like the cloud is, or we're not able to read the X position of the cat from the cloud, or if we are, it's not being read very often. But the Oh, yeah, because the cat heading up is able to be read, but cat heading down is not able to be read. And it's like when we're going down, it's more jittery than when we're heading up. Is that true? I'm not sure if I believe that. Yes, when we head up, like when we head up, it definitely does the like follow through and then come back to where the like true position is. And when we're going down, it doesn't do that, and it seems maybe it's more stuttery. I'm not sure. Yeah, the left and right is still not working at all. Okay. So what have we learned? Let's what do I want to do with this? I think I want to delete everything about the bat. So where we go down, we lose 3 cloud variables, and maybe that helps us control things more. So yeah, let's do that. I'm going to go to Scratch. I'm going to stop the other one. Look at this one. Going to variables. And I'm kind of just hesitating about this a little bit because this is sort of a point of no return. Because once I start deleting these variables, it's hard to go back. So that's what I'll do is I'll save as a copy. This is going to be the stream backup. So I'll share this as well just in case. And then I'm going to look at my stuff and go back to the not backup version, and then start tearing this one apart. So we're going to go to variables, and we're going to just delete all of the bat cloud variables. We're going to delete the bat sprite. What does the bat sprite look like now that okay, so yeah, let's just delete the bat sprite because this is using the bat cloud variables, and I just don't want. I don't exactly know how Scratch deals with this stuff, but I do know that I want these things gone, and that's probably the easiest way to do that. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that in the ball code in here. There's no there's no bat is controlled thing here. So now if I delete this and switch sprites, it stays gone. Now let's see if just getting rid of those things can help. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to go to my, do all of the standard transitions. Reload that to make sure it's up. Oh no. Is this has a bat is controlled? So in here, this is saved. If we switch around, it still doesn't think there's a bat is controlled cloud variable. Let me reload this and see if it has that thing show up again. It does not. Very concerning. So yeah, when we look at both of them, there's a bat is controlled variable. Oh, and there's still a bat is controlled thing. or there's still a bat sprite. Um, that's probably what I should be more concerned about. Um, is this? Oh, there we go. Yes. Who knows? Maybe it didn't save properly. Okay. So let's reset this. Let's control the. Oh, the left project isn't running. Um, yeah, so that's running. It thinks that cat is controlled, but it thinks cat is controlled, but not by it, and the one on the right thinks that cat is controlled, and it is by it. So now I'm going to see if I move left and right here. Still doesn't move on the left. If I go up and down, it does. Okay, let's look. I feel like I haven't truly looked in the code to see if there's any bugs in it. I'm going to move um, back to over here because we're not dealing with variables at the instant right now. So, why could the left and right not work, but the up and down does? What differences do we have? Oh no, this is fine. This grabs all of it, and then down here, oh, is this ever in a weird way? No, this is fine. We have, yeah, but the issue was not that this code was wrong. The issue was that the local cat headed up never got set properly. I think I'm just about ready to give up on this. Yeah, it feels to me like what's happening is that Scratch doesn't allow me to use this absurd number of cloud variables at the same time so quickly. Oh, what happens if I just I'm gonna wait 0.1 seconds on each of these lookups. And so this, what I'm hoping this does, is just make it so we annoy Scratch a little bit less. Basically, we don't, we ask for stuff from the cloud less often, and hopefully that'll be okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is make all of these weights a slightly different number, so they don't line up with each other all that often. 2 and 1, 3. And this is definitely a don't try this at home kind of moment. Or I guess it's fine to try this at home, but this is the stuff that I'm embarrassed doing. Like especially like waiting a tenth of a second for these lookups is just like a very arbitrary number that doesn't make a huge amount of sense. So we shall see. But yeah, let's stop this, restart it, give up control, go to side-by-side view, go to the other one. Oh, this is saved, so yeah, hopefully should be okay. And this one on the right, I'm going to reload it. And they're now both running. I'm going to grab control. Oh, someone else controlling the cat, so I'm going to make people give up control of the cat. I'm now going to control the cat. I'm going to try moving it left and right, up and down. It's still working the same way. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give up on this. What I kind of want to do is restart this project because it feels like we've made negative progress on this. And what I'm concerned about is like um, once you've tried to make too many cloud variables, they might just be in the cloud forever, and Scratch no longer allows us to do nice things. Scratch is probably well designed enough that that's not actually the case. Um, yeah, I don't know exactly what's happening, um, but I'm having fun. I'm having fun trying to figure it out, but that doesn't mean that I figured it out right now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna work on this a little bit off stream. Um, if I can figure out a good way forward, you might see this again on stream, or I might just not show this on stream and go back to stuff that I'm a little more familiar and comfortable with. Um, maybe I'll move to Woof and do similar uh, and handle similar issues there. Um, because I'm still like having a bunch of fun figuring out, like thinking about these bugs, even if a bunch of my theories are flat out wrong. Um, yeah. Um, so that's what I have for you guys today. Some I'm just gonna drop in the chat. Um, that's not the chat. That's the chat. In the chat, we're just gonna do another. Last is so that project is where I started with today, and then current is where what I have done today, including that last bit of um, deleting a bunch of variables and seeing what happens, and the answer being not a whole lot. Um, and then also you can, from my username there, you can also find the backup before I started deleting stuff, if that is something that interests you. And with that, I'm going to call it good. We are having on this Saturday, we have two streams coming up. There's a Code for Change stream that's at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, where me and another of our teachers, Madison, will be talking about all of the projects that our students have worked on for Code for Change. So that should be a bunch of fun. We're donating some money to charity. We're looking at a bunch of different projects and games and seeing what's up with them. And you get to hear someone besides me talk, so all of that should be great fun. And then in the evening, we'll have Trek be working on a WoofJS project. That should be at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday as well. And so if you want to check those out, be sure to drop a follow on this stream. That's like a heart button in the top right-ish of the stream, hopefully, as it kind of moves around based on how you're watching. But something like that. Hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Because even though I feel like I failed and didn't get anything done, I had a bunch of fun doing it. And that's kind of what we're hoping to get from. Like, that's when programming is the best, I think. Maybe it's the best when everything just works out nicely. But when you're having fun, even when things aren't working, that's how you know that it's a good thing to do. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and bye.